What do you see as the future of where we're going? And if someone truly wants to live a happier, more fulfilled life, what can they do in the face of the next decade of just distractions?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get easier for anyone with the accessibility to addictions, things, access, the now gratification.
Yeah. Think back to our prehistoric ancestors. Can you imagine going out on a hunt for a woolly mammoth? How much fun that must have been.
It'd be scary, fun, exciting. All these things.
Like you're with your buddies, like the tribe. You all depend upon one another. You all got to roll. It's life or death. You could come home dead. You're going to bring home meat. I bet that we don't experience anything like that our whole life that was as much fun as that.
Wow.
Related to that, like everyone, I started out life poor, as a poor medical student. And now I'm financially more comfortable, and there are things I miss about being poor.
Isn't that interesting?
Have you noticed that?
I was sleeping on my sister's couch for a year and a half. No money, broke, eating mac and cheese and leftovers from her.
Yeah.
I didn't have a car, so I'm walking everywhere and just like living by, I don't know, a couple $100 a month.
Yeah.
And there's something about that time that I'm like, God, it was so exciting to see, like, what could I create from this space of nothing?
Yeah, you're strategizing.
Yes.
Little wins are huge.
Huge. Oh, someone said yes to meet with me. It was like all these things.
So as our society progresses farther and farther away from scarcity, we lose those opportunities to have these incredibly big wins that are going to change our life. And so we overeat on junk food. We spend time with these trivial nonsense pleasures on our cell phones because the big things are no longer in our life. It's no longer about finding sources of food to survive. It's now about, how many views am I going to get with my latest post? It's not the same thing.
So what can we do over the next 5, 10 years as these distractions are going to become more prevalent?
We've got to think about meaning. We've got to think about what is meaningful. So for me, writing books has become so meaningful, and it's nice and hard, and sometimes it makes me miserable, which is good. You've got to find something that's hard, that will involve failure, because that's how hard it is. You can't choose an easy life.
Really?
Yeah.
What happens if we choose an easy life?
We become miserable. We become miserable, bored, fat, sick, diabetic, all of those terrible things.
Do you have a chapter or a place in here that talks about meaning and finding meaning?
It's my next book.
That's the next book.
That's the next book, yeah.
What is that one about? The unconscious mind?
It's about the unconscious mind, yeah. And
what is the unconscious mind versus the conscious mind?
A lot of people have seen these pictures of the mind as an iceberg, right? Where there's this little teeny part above the surface and the huge mass is below the surface. That's the unconscious mind. The unconscious mind is responsible for everything that goes on inside our heads that we don't have control over. Emotions, excitement, enthusiasm, interest. Most people don't think about this. You don't control what you're interested in,
How do you, really?
Somebody like football? Okay. I personally don't like football. There's nothing I can, I kind of do, but not that much, but there's nothing I can do to make myself passionate about football.
Here's the thing. I'm going to challenge you on this and tell me if I'm wrong. I never liked soccer. I played it growing up, and then I stopped playing it when I was a sophomore in high school and I started playing football. And then I was like, I never want to watch soccer. The only time I was interested in soccer was during the World Cup, when I was like, okay, I can get behind everyone going out and like watching a game and supporting the USA, right? But I never wanted to watch until a few years ago. I was just telling one of our producers here, Mike, that I went to a couple LAFC games. They're LA Football Club soccer team, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is incredible. The energy, the experience. I got to know the players, and I was like, became interested in the sport of soccer. And I was like, I want to go to more games.
Yeah.
So how does that, what does that mean then? If I'm not interested, but then I become interested in something?
Right. So we talked about this pastor who took a month off, and boom, the idea hit him.
Yes.
That came from his unconscious mind. He didn't dig it up, right?
Right.
It came to him. You went to the soccer game and you were given a gift. You were given the gift of excitement.
Yes.
You didn't work for
fun,
that.
exciting, yeah.
Right. That was a gift for your unconscious mind. And that's why trust is so important, that we have to trust that these gifts will come. If we try to squeeze our unconscious mind and force it to give us things, it's going to rebel. We've got to kind of go through saying, look, I've got a co-pilot, or maybe I'm the pilot. Maybe I'm the co-pilot. Maybe the other guy's the pilot and in charge. But it's a realization that you cannot control everything, that you have to be open to gifts that come from the unconscious mind.
So it's kind of like being curious about life. Okay, I'm going to try this thing. I'm going to check this out and see how it makes me feel.
Yeah. Can I tell the story I wanted to tell?
Bring it, yes.
So I did this TEDx talk, right?
Yes.
And it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I practiced
4 years ago, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I practiced that every day for a month.
That's great. Great speech.
Thank you.
Every day for a month.
Every single day, 5 days a week. When I went to work, first thing in the morning is I ran through that speech.
Wow.
All right, so I get there, we do a dress rehearsal, get up there, and I'm giving my speech. I draw a blank halfway through. Nothing. I'm sweating. Okay? Dress rehearsal. I got nothing. And I'm terrified. And there's a dinner that evening, and I skip the dinner. I go back to my hotel room, and I'm memorizing. So now it's the day of the thing, and I'm about to go out, and I realize, I say, look, I didn't shirk. I wasn't lazy. I did everything I could, and it wasn't enough.
Wow.
And so I said to my unconscious mind, we're all in this together. Be a pal and help me out. I acknowledged that I didn't have control. And I was happy with how it went. My unconscious mind came through for me.
That was great.
But it came through for me as a friend, not as a servant. I didn't order it, I asked it.
So what happens to people who are extremely controlling in their life versus people that are more in surrender?
Yeah, those controlling people don't do well.
Really?
And a lot of times, the unconscious mind has a sense of humor. You know about the Freudian slip, right?
Yes.
A lot of times the Freudian slip will reveal a truth that you were trying to hide, but the unconscious mind says, tough luck.
You said this, yeah.
Yeah, so people are always trying to be in control. Their unconscious mind is constantly sabotaging them.
So the unconscious mind is in control?
We share control. We share control, and we need to work as a partnership.
Pilots.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a partnership. And if you try to be the tyrant, like the people who are very much in control, the unconscious mind is going to mess with you. But it's funny. Sometimes things that we don't have but we want give us more joy than the things we have.
Why is that? The things we desire.
Yeah, there's a great quotation from the book The House at Pooh Corner. Did you ever read that?
Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh. I love children's literature.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, so anyways, Christopher Robin asked Pooh,